Positioning.
Ready for battle.
Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everyone's doing fine. Today we've got a VOD review coming from Reddit again. We have a silver/gold Kiriko who is wondering if they're doing something wrong. So you haven't picked your character yet, but someone please tell me what I'm doing wrong. Silver 1/gold Kiriko main here. I know how to heal, position, play from angles, but it seems almost as though my teammates' poor positioning/target priority restricts me from doing more than heal botting. But would seriously like to get rid of the mindset that my teammates are the problem and need some advice. Do I just stop peeling them completely, even if they are feeding and are not getting important picks? So again, this comes from Reddit at r/Overwatch University from Skylar White, yo. But yeah, we'll see. So really going to be looking for, we're going to be watching your teammates here from your POV once you pick a character, and we'll see what's going on. Let me make sure my sound is right. Here we go. Alright, you're playing Baptiste here. I don't mind Baptiste on this map. There's a lot of good angles you can take for doing damage. Well, you use both of your cooldowns there, and I get kind of freaking out. You don't want your monkey to die. But I wouldn't have necessarily used both of my cooldowns there, because Bap's cooldowns are extremely long. Nah, that's just your monkey's fault. There's nothing you can do about that. If your Winston just sits there, I mean, there's nothing you can do. Good kill. Again, you use both of your cooldowns there, and I mean, I get it, but I mean, if you're gonna stand in the soldier thing, there you go. Not bad. You've definitely got some mechanical skill. You know what you're doing on BAP, you know what you're doing in positioning wise, and you got those 2 kills, so I can't blame you for that. Good kill. Now again, okay, let's talk about this here. Now this is more on you here. So let's go back and watch this. What I like to do, and something I totally forgot about, I preface these VOD reviews by saying I am a diamond tank main, but I am, when I do play support, I am working my way through plat and steadily moving up. But let's watch this here. So this is fine. This is all fine. It's when you, and then, so you're just kind of standing here. Yep, right. So you're just kind of standing here, right in the open here, and you know, I mean, your team's all the way over here, and they let the Mercy get the revive off. So that's interesting. But you're lucky that the soldier doesn't go for this immortality field here. If she had, I mean, you'd be back in spawn already. And if you're wanting to climb, I mean, that's something you're gonna have to realize. In these low gold to high silver games that you're playing in, you're very lucky that this soldier didn't go for this immortality field. If I saw this immortality field, man, that would be the first thing I would shoot. But luckily she shoots you, and you know, doesn't realize that she has to shoot the immortality field, and you get her. Just keep that in mind for when you do start climbing, which I from what I've seen so far, I mean, we're a couple minutes in, I think you will. Once you, I don't know, I mean, we'll see what's really going on here. Because, I mean, if it's every game, I mean, I don't like the necessarily to say, but you're the only constant. I don't really necessarily like to say that, but good immortality field. Good kill. Good kill on the Moira. Kind of a waste of your ability there. You got a 14-second cooldown on that. I wouldn't use that if I'm that high. And you're AFK. And you know what you... I mean, there was... Let's see, where did your Pharah die here? Oh. Okay. Where is she going here? Now you're AFK over here. And you're... Okay, yeah, and your Pharah goes... Okay. Not much I can say there. I'm very lucky there. Yeah, your tank's just sort of sitting in front of them, which not something I would do on Winston, and there he goes. You're playing BAP exactly how I would expect someone to play BAP. Kind of a wasted ult there because it's tracers on you. Yeah. I wouldn't have used my ult there. Sort of a wasted ult. That was the only thing, really the only major thing I've noticed from you. That was sort of a wasted ult. But I don't blame you for trying to get the kills.
It's not over till it's over.
Your Winston's just sitting in front of the thing. So there's really not much you can do when your dive tank sits in front of them. And then it's just a feed by your team.
Yes, it wasn't my group up with me.
This ends now.
Good high ground. I like that you're taking high ground.
I'm the cream of the crop. Get into the field.
Good high ground, good high ground. You've got good positioning, I'll give you that. But you kind of just ignore the tracer there, which I don't blame you for trying to get in with your team. That's not bad. Not a bad thing to do.
Rocket barrage incoming.
I mean, so far your guys are doing just fine. Your tank's speeding a little bit. As for your DPS, it seems like you're doing some work for them. So, I mean, that's sort of your job as a support character, especially as BAP, to get those picks that your DPS don't quite get.
Must you be so relaxed? We depend on you.
I'm not relaxed. I just make everything look easy.
And really, with your tank really playing playing monkey and sort of just sort of standing in front of him, that's something you're gonna have to deal with, especially in these low ranks. Most of these dive tanks that I've seen, and I've done a couple of tank reviews recently where they kind of just sit there and they don't do much. Now he's diving right now, however, okay, the Mercy goes through. Okay. But when you're playing against a Reinhardt as and kind of just, yep, and there goes your Mercy and you to the one Genji. Maybe you could have turned around and got him, but again, really not much you can do without your DPS around you. I want to watch that actually. Let's go back and rewatch this. So you come down, Genji, the Genji was over here, and you're kind of, Genji just gets a lucky pick on you where your team had just left you. And now you see him here, and you just kind of run away. I'm not really sure what you were going for here. I think you could have put up a little bit more of a fight, but he already had you down pretty low. And then Farah doesn't really seem to know where to aim.
My heart's still beating. So let's go.
Genji just tears apart your team till the guy who can go through his deflect gets back, I guess.
Over here. Let's group up.
That's when I would have probably backed out and let them honestly take the point completely. I would have come back to spawn there for your tank. Again, I wouldn't use that when you have a Mercy healing you. Really from that range, you're not really going to do much as BAP, so I would have stayed back and maybe saved some of your health, and there you go again. Now having your cooldown there would have helped you, but instead you wasted it when you were down a couple of health when you had a Mercy healing you. And I mean, you as a support have a faster passive healing rate, so I would have saved that for then. And now your team is just feeding routinely. Their team is just playing better than you are. Let's switch to Kiriko. I don't hate the switch. I like the switch, honestly, because then you can start to try to get picks on this Genji as he comes through. And I like the Moira. The Moira swap is good, and now you walk into the pin. Yeah. I saw that from a mile away. That pin was coming straight for you, and you walked into it. Yeah, now your tank's just feeding. I don't think this is necessarily a throw by your tank. I think it's just where are you going here? Yeah, I don't know if I would do that if I were you. What are you doing? Did you lose you lost your tank? Just a little a note for Kiriko. There is a setting you can tweak where instead of throwing all of her papers out, you can throw only a few, and so that way you're not stuck in the animation. You're a little too close to your tank here than I would like. He seems to be frontlining, so I would probably play a little far back. And then you can use your Suzu, use whatever you need to keep him alive. Yeah, you're playing a little too close for comfort for me. Yep, and there you go. So I would say you said that you know how to position. I would say you know how to position somewhat, at least on BAP. What I've seen on Kiriko is you go up way too close. You're sniffing the Winston's rear end. I don't necessarily like that. This is exactly where I would play, and now you're staring at a wall and letting your tank die. And had you stayed with the tank, I don't think you would have done anything. There's nothing you could have gone. Maybe the tank could have jumped in, but he would have died immediately. So, in terms of your team's target priority that you mentioned, your tank definitely needs to, in this specific game, needs to realize that to stop shooting the tank.
My hero. You're like
I'd like to, honestly, I wish you could see the scoreboards. But since you've switched to Kiriko, I definitely think you need to work on your positioning a little bit. You're playing way too close for a character that can heal from pretty far away. And has amazing damage potential when you hit headshots. Yeah, your tank's target priority is definitely not what it needs to be. I think this is a sort of a team effort here. Wasted Suzu, honestly. So let me talk about Suzu here. I don't play Kiriko as much as I used to. And I get what you were going for. We'll go back and watch this. I get what you're going for here. We're going to slow it. We're going to speed it up, actually, because we went back a little too far. So I know what you're going for here. You're trying to save the tank and the Lucio with your Suzu. Kiriko has enough healing output that if you put a couple of papers into somebody, you're not going to need to use that. So just sort of a wasted Suzu. They don't really have anybody on their team that has an ability that's going to, you know, last for a while. Wasted clap there again, and now you're dead. When you could have maybe clapped away or, you know, not gone there in the first place. Kiriko does not need to be right up next to people to be able to heal them, and that's really the only thing that I've noticed for you specifically. Since you switched to Kiriko, you're playing way too close. You need to work on that. Wasted clap. You would have been there in 30 seconds anyway. And your Mauga. Have faith in your Mauga. Maybe not that much faith. I think what we'll do is you need to heal your tank. And then you ult when your tank is dead, who could have really used that ult. So let's go back and watch this. I'm not gonna rip into you as much because I'm not really a support main, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But let's see what happens here. So I like, before we really look into this, I like that you're not heal botting. That is a good thing. However, there is a fine line between, you know, going for picks and trying to get damage and trying to get kills, whatever, and just not healing your tank. Lucio, there's really only so much he can do, especially when your tank is just sitting in front of their team, which I get that you said that you... Oh, we've got Mauga doing a weird hair thing again. Interesting. I get what you said with your team, you know, target priority, whatever, but you've got to be able to... You've got to heal your tank at some point in this fight here, and you choose not to, and then your team folds, and you ult for no reason. So let's slow it down here. So they've got a... she's not doing damage to him, but we've got the Sojourn, the Reinhardt, and their DPS is back there. You've got two people shooting at your tank, and he's not using his... Did he use his cardiac overdrive? Let's see if he has cardiac overdrive, actually. He does not, so he just used it. So that's something to be aware of. Watch your... What you should be doing is you should be watching your team's cooldowns, usage, and sort of using your Suzu to help them out. Now, do you see when he uses it? No. Okay. So at this point, he just used it. He's not... Yeah. So with this one, I mean, it's a tricky situation. You thought that your tank was going to... I'm assuming you thought your tank was going to be able to survive there because he just used his cardiac overdrive. Obviously, he had to reload, and that's something, if you're duoed with the tank or are in a game chat with tank, and he's playing Mauga and he's not using his cardiac overdrive correctly, either tell him how to use it or tell him to switch, because if you don't know how to use Mauga's cardiac overdrive, that tank is going to live and spawn. Mauga's cardiac overdrive, I mean, you can... essentially sit in front of the team and do literally nothing as long as you're doing damage. It is so strong. But unfortunately, oops, I did not mean to press that button. Unfortunately, did we go back too far? We did go back too far. Unfortunately, your tank is really not sure what you're supposed to do, and then you sort of waste your ult there. Yeah, and your team was too far away for you to clap, and you stayed in for too long. As soon as your tank died, I would have ran back and gotten behind cover rather than staying in front of their team. That way, even if the Reinhardt did come after you, you could have clapped back. Now, I would clap to your, not to your Moira, but this would be a time that I would go in because, frankly, they're really not going to push off point here too much. Don't clap. That was just a wasted clap. I know she has a pretty quick cooldown on her switch step, but I wouldn't have used it there to clap to the Pharah. You don't know what kind of situation she's in completely. Another wasted Suzu, in my opinion. Good kill. However, your Maug is going to die because you were not healing him. Good kill. Good kill. However, your team just wasn't there to follow up on that, and the Pharah killed us all. Alright, so before we really go back and sort of look at what you're doing here, let me try to wrap things up in sort of a nice little Christmas present package for you. Your positioning on BAP was fine, normal, exactly what I would expect to see out of a BAP, taking high ground, taking angles, whatever, and healing when needed. Especially when you're playing with a Mercy. That Mercy should be able to keep up on healing pretty well as you get the leftovers, essentially. With your Kiriko, your positioning was all over the place. You had decent positioning at some points, and then excuse my bluntness, but terrible positioning at other points that got you and your team killed because you were out of position. And the reason that I say it got you and your team killed was because, you were essentially going to heal the team. However, you were out of the way. Your Lucio's not going to be able to do very much. When your tank is taking so much damage, and you were out of positioning, so you died. Your team dies. I want to go back and we're gonna watch your Kiriko gameplay from a bird's eye view. Is something that I like to do with these reviews, and we're gonna see what's really going on here.
What's up?
All right. Actually, we're gonna go with you until we get up to the point.
Hey, hi. What's up? Hey, there.
So the reason I want to watch your Kiriko gameplay, you said you're a Kiriko main. So I like this that you're getting some early damage off. But let's go up in here, and we're gonna watch your team's positioning as well as your own. So the soldier, I like where he is. He's got his healing pad. I would expect him to go for the Mercy. Your tank, I don't mind your tank sort of sitting in front of the Reinhardt for a little while and maybe trying to get him down past a little bit, or maybe going for this Moira because you've already gotten pretty low. This Pharah with the soldier, I would expect to be a little bit more cautious and sort of not necessarily flying throughout the sky and maybe just flying behind cover here and there and sort of just hovering around. This Lucio, honestly, should be up with the tank or with the soldier, enabling them to do whatever they need to do to move around fast or to get a quick burst of healing. I would expect to stay right here. I would expect you to stay here, maybe move over here, or be over here with the soldier and sort of healing across the map. And then whenever someone gets close to you, I would expect you to clap back here or climb over a couple walls and get back over here. This is your home base, is how I like to think of it. This place here, you're not going to see a lot of people have the guts to push up here, and if they do, your spawn is literally right there, so they shouldn't be able to hold you there for very long. But let's see what happens here. So your Lucio goes in. He is only healing. He really should be speed boosting in to help the tank, who dove into their whole team. Now that is not your fault. That you are playing exactly where I want you to play. But your tank should have gone here, or maybe played around the point a little bit better, rather than jumping their whole team into a Reinhardt who is frankly a better Reinhardt than what I would expect out of a silver or gold match. And your tank does come back, and you go back to your home base. I like that. Now, again, we'll talk about your cooldown usage afterwards, but you're playing exactly where I want you to play. So your tank died, and you're out of positioning. And the reason why I say you're out of position here, let's actually go back. Let's go back and watch what you do here. We're going to slow it down. So your Winston does exactly what I would want him to do and would run away and use the shield. Your Lucio is not really helping him out, and then he sort of gets pushed out of the way, and the soldier gets him. Now your Pharah, so you're over here, you're moving around, but your tank died. I don't know if you necessarily realized that or not. Maybe you did, but your Lucio's up here, finally using his speed boost, which I would have, at this point, when I saw the tank die, I'm going up here, I'm running back here, I'm giving up a little bit of space, but I'm watching. I'm not running away. I'm watching. Right? I'm watching, seeing if they come, because it's Kiriko and Lucio. Kiriko and Lucio have amazing damage potential. But I would say that this was not necessarily, again, as I'm pointing out that the tank died, the tank is out of position, the tank is doing this, the tank is doing that. This was not the tank's fault. This was mostly a team effort, I would say, in terms of, not really working together. The tank going in by himself, and then the Lucio sort of sitting over here, roller skating back and forth, and not really using his boost to heal him when he gets low. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not really focused on him. We're focused on you. But anyway, so their whole team. Now let's see where you are here. You're sort of looking in this general direction. You can see the soldier. You can see the sojourn. You saw the Reinhardt go over there. The Mercy's here. And now you're not going to be able to see the Mercy, but you see the Mercy. You see the Moira. Here you are. Lucio is over here, playing where I think he would be. And here your Pharah is way out of position. 100% Pharah is out of position here. In terms of, because the tank died, she is now out of position. The angle she's taking right now is not going to help her, not going to help the team. She should have been out of there as soon as she saw that. But instead, here she goes. She's trying to get away. And the Moira with the lock-on gets her, and you jump to her. Absolutely, again, excuse my bluntness, but this death here was not your team's fault, was not anyone else's but you. You jump to the Pharah, who's low health. You don't know what situation she's in exactly, but you know. You saw the soldier. You saw the sojourn. You heard the Reinhardt coming in. You heard him dash, or charge in, my bad. But she dies. And again, how I mentioned earlier, you're throwing your papers out when you could be throwing your kunai. So that is something that I would do. I would go into your settings and I would change around. I'm not sure exactly what the setting is, but actually we can look right now. Go to controls, we'll go to hero, Kiriko, and toggle healing Ofunda, whatever, however you say it. And I'll turn that off. See? So, I mean, that's the only change that I have on for Kiriko. So, so if you do that, you're not going to be just throwing your healing papers out at this enemy soldier. You could have been doing damage to him. Now, you definitely would have still died here, but maybe you could have popped back to Lucio, which is what I would have done. I would have, honestly, you say that should you have left your team to die, leave your Pharah to die. She was going to die anyway. You weren't going to be able to heal her, but instead you clap to her and feed. So your Lucio is doing exactly what I want. Exactly what I would have wanted. Your soldier, not sort of taking the attraction off, but dies anyway. So your Mauga, not really when I would use my my cardiac overdrive as Mauga as a tank player, but it obviously doesn't go very well. Now, I would stay exactly right here. Do not go down. And you fall down. Now, you do go for the soldier here, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but look how low your tank is. And look, both of you guys are focused on him. And I don't... Now, luckily your Lucio's staying with him, but you have the healing output that's going to be able to save him. I would have let your Pharah, who is already going for him, kill the soldier, and I would have been healing the tank, but instead we've let the tank get this low, and now he's going to pop. He gets away, actually. I forgot about that. He does get away. But now your Pharah goes in, and because the tank isn't there, now she's the center of attention. Now here comes the tank, and here we go again. With, we're not going to heal the tank. And Mauga's hair is messed up again. That's funny. But again, here we go. I mean, let's go back here. Let's watch your tank's health. Because the Lucio doesn't stay with him exactly and doesn't boost him up, you know, he's looking back, he's looking for you guys, making sure you're there. And he's low. He's not getting the healing he should be getting. Now, I say that, and I'm not going to tell you to heal bot on Kiriko. But you do need to be healing a little bit more than you are right now. For this entire time here, you're going for damage. You're not throwing your papers, you're not throwing your papers, you're not throwing your papers, no papers, no papers, no papers, and your tank dies. That entire time, you could have been staying up here, and now you realize that your team is dead, and you're trying to heal them. Your team is dead, and you're healing them. Now, I get that your team isn't entirely dead. I mean, only your tank is, but for better or worse, and in all intents and purposes, they're dead. And yes, you got the Sojourn kill, but that doesn't matter because nobody's able to kill the Mercy, and she comes in and revives. And you waste your ult. The only ult... Actually, you've wasted both of your ults that you've gotten in this game for yourself, not helping the team. If you would have saved your ult for a little while longer until the Mauga got back, I think you guys could have taken point. But unfortunately, you used it for yourself after you saw your tank die. Yes, your Lucio and Pharah got out of the shatter, but they're not going to do anything because there is no front line. Soldiers over here jumping on a trampoline, and so is Lucio. They're not going to be able to do much against a Reinhardt who's pocketed. And again, your positioning at this point, up until here, was okay. And then when you start to realize that your team is going to die, that is when this comes around. Maybe we hide here. Maybe they don't see where I am. And then when they get closer, when the Mauga gets closer, that's when I clap. So, yes, your positioning on BAP was okay. But so far on Kiriko, it's been pretty lackluster. Yeah, and you're still trying to fight. You're still trying to fight. And instead of going back around here, so it takes them more time to get to you, so that way maybe you can clap to your Mauga, you go in front of their team, and yeah, you just kind of fall over there, and your team is again, the Mauga's waiting for you. I like that the Mauga's waiting. He just needs to go for the squishes a little bit more. So your soldier's taking an off angle. Oh, that's their soldier, my bad. Again, you don't need a swift step to Pharah. Not something I would have done. The only time I'm using swift step is if someone is low and I know they're out of danger. I'm not really sure who your Moira is healing here. But your soldier's just kind of sitting up here. Your Pharah is going to go in and go around. I like how we're taking this fight. I like the supports are together. Now your Mauga needs to stop shooting the shield and needs to go back around and put some pressure on their backline a little bit because of the Reinhardt's shield being up. But again, he doesn't do that. And now we're going to go back and watch this. We're going to watch what's happening. I think I already know what's happening. Let's watch you here. So you swift step here. You go around, you're healing your tank, healing him. Now you're only going for damage. Now you're healing. Damage. You're healing. At this point, what you're going to want to do here, I'm going to say this. I don't hate that you're going for damage. By all means, do it. But right now, look at where you are. Look at where you are here. Look where your team is. You're not gonna I don't think that Kiriko's healing reaches this far. And this is who you're pointing at. That's where your papers are going. More towards the ground. But anyway, Pharah's dead. That was predetermined by the gods. She's dead. Moira doesn't need to be shooting the tank. Mauga, okay, you can shoot the tank, but it's Reinhardt, and you're only shooting the shield, and you're not breaking the shield. So stop shooting the tank. Soldier, not really sure. I haven't been watching him. Not really sure what he's doing. You, again, you're not healing anybody here. You're just throwing your papers out.
I've got you in my sight.
So that's what I was trying to point out here is the tank got low. The tank got low. We healed him. Now he's back low. But you're still going for damage. When you've got a soldier to do that, you've got a Moira that can do that. You have the healing output here. Now, your tank's been making some big mistakes, and I do agree with you that it should not be your job to save your tank from every bad situation he puts himself in. But if you're really wanting to win games, especially in a low rank like this, that's what you're gonna have to heal bot at certain points. I think it's unrealistic to tell someone, oh, you shouldn't heal bot, blah 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 blah, because it's not healthy. It's not good for your team. You're not helping your team. You're playing healer, not support. But in this lower rank, when you've got a tank who only shoots the Reinhardt shield, I mean, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to enable them to make those stupid plays and to actually survive those stupid plays. But unfortunately, it just doesn't pan out like that. I mean, you do a good job. You do get a couple of kills here. But again, there's really not much you can do. And what happens to the Pharah here? She didn't get all the way over the thing. But let's go back and we're gonna watch your Now, why did it not go all the way back? Okay.
Ready for battle.
Okay, that was. Oh, okay. I forgot they're all on the same map. So let's go through and we'll rewatch your other your other gameplay here. I mean, you guys did good on this part of the game. You did exactly what I would expect you to do. Your Mercy healed, and you did you picked up on the leftover healing that needed to be done. Wasted your abilities a couple times. That's something that I would look at. Let's actually watch this from a bird's eye view, so we can watch what your team is doing good here. Now, the Widowmaker just kind of got your bar there. I like what your Winston is doing. This is not a bad Winston play, but he should have had his bubble with him rather than just running in. Winston is very, very weak without his bubble. If he doesn't have his bubble, I mean, he's just going to pop. And you kind of wasted your immortality field on him because of that. Now, that I don't blame you for. That was 100%, and this isn't on you. This is a wasted ability right here. Wasted cooldown. Not because of you, because of your Winston. Because your Winston didn't stay in, I would have gone like right here. I would have stayed in, not used my jump. I would have stayed right here, kept trying to shoot the Widowmaker as you're healing me. But instead, I go back here and I leave the front line open. Now it works out. Now I go in. Yep. Here you go. Now see what's really happening here? Is we're all working together. We're all playing together. You're going in between. You're doing healing and you're doing damage. Now what I noticed on your Kiriko gameplay is you're either healing or you're doing damage. Not both. BAP and Kiriko essentially have the same heal to damage ratio. For this example that I'm going to give here, BAP obviously should have some of the highest damage output of all the supports next to Moira, Juno, Ilari, those kind of people. And you should also be healing, which you are. You're doing a good job of that here. On your Kiriko, you are not. With Kiriko, you're either doing damage and focusing solely on damage, or there were really no points where you were focusing solely on healing. You were just throwing your healing papers in and then going right back to doing damage, where that's not necessarily something that I would like to see. And at the end of this, today we'll talk about what I would expect to see if you really want to climb. Now, let's talk about positioning here. Your Mercy's dead. Your Pharah is going to get sniped out of the sky, and your soldier's over here. I know that this game ultimately works out for you, but let's look where you are right now. You get extremely lucky that you guys win this. Your positioning right now, I know I said your positioning on BAP was good. It was good. However, this situation here, I would not have gone in here. Now you get extremely lucky that this soldier is not very good, and that she doesn't shoot the immortality field, and you get her easily. Now, in any higher ranks, I don't mean DPS, but as a Sojourn player, I'm going to see that immortality field, and I am going to laugh at you. I'm going to laugh at you, and I'm going to shoot that immortality field, and then roll you. But this Sojourn is not that not where that needs to be, not where that skill level needs to be.
Salutations.
Now your team goes back up here. And let's talk about your positioning here. Your DPS are over here. Your soldier's not really doing anything. Your Pharah's not really doing anything. But you're over here. You're helping. Now the Reinhardt goes for a little ride. Now how does this Mercy get this revive off? Oh, Oh, she just kind of sits in front of the entire enemy team, or your entire team, and nobody shoots her. Oh, you get her anyway, but she somehow gets that off. Okay. If that was me, that would not have happened. Now, let's talk about this here. In any higher rank than this Sojourn is not going to be shooting you. She's going to be shooting that immortality field, and you would have been dead instantly. This is not good positioning. 100%. For silver and gold, low gold, I should say, this is decent positioning. You know, you're not going to be getting shot by the other people on the team. The Reinhardt is currently being revived, and you got both the supports, and the Widowmaker is shooting your tank. This Sojourn, if this was any higher of a rank, if this was not silver and gold, would have destroyed your team here. I mean, you're playing pretty far apart. The Pharah is sort of just shooting the wall, and your soldier isn't really doing anything either. Now he is shooting her, actually. So good on him. And he ultimately helps you. Your team ultimately helps you. Now, again, like I said, you're not going to be able to pull that off in any higher rank. So if when you do start climbing, which I think you will, and we'll get into that at the end, that's not going to happen like that. Now your Winston jumps back to point for some reason. Not really sure why he did that.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Helden sterben nicht. Helden sterben nicht.
I like the immortality field. We get him.
Justice reigns from above.
Not gonna talk about that far ult. So see how good we're all doing? See how good you guys are when your guys are playing together, when, you know, they're getting a substantial amount of healing? Now this Mercy is... I'd like to see the scoreboard right now. And again, you go AFK here. I'm not sure why you go AFK. Now, there's nothing you could have done for that Pharah. You got extremely, extremely lucky that Reinhardt didn't pin you there. So like I was saying, you see how good we're playing together here? We're playing together. The tank is getting a good enough amount of healing that they aren't dying immediately in every fight. And that is because the Mercy is able to heal by. Because you are doing damage, because you are picking up the DPS slack, and again, wasted ult there. But you're picking up the DPS slack, you're also picking up her slack, in the sense of you're healing what she doesn't get. And we'll talk about in relation to your Kiriko gameplay, what happened there. And then this was just a feat by your team here. Nothing you could have done here, really, other than go back in your spawn.
Helden sterben nicht.
But yeah, you guys are playing together really well here. Your Mercy's doing a good job at staying on the tank. The tank really needs that health because he is so aggressive and overly aggressive when he shouldn't be.
Helden sterben nicht.
Again, you know, not really much for me to say here. You guys played very well together with the Mercy. I mean, the Mercy's heal botting. I mean, that is honestly her job. And that's really the only reason why you guys won that. In my opinion. I don't think that you were necessarily going for too much damage. I just think that that's what the tank needed. The tank needed to be heal botted. Otherwise, you know, that playstyle is not going to work. Where you just sit in front of their team with no cover. You can't do that. And that's not your fault. Alright. Let's watch this. This positioning here, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. But, not really helping your soldier here. He gets away, though. A lot of downtime here where you're not really hitting your healing. You're not really shooting at anybody. And we can see the Genji coming up. And you know what happens here. He gets that pick on you. Yep, and here he comes. Now, I mean, the only thing that I can assume that would happen here is you thought, oh, maybe I can get away here. Maybe I can't. Now, if I am correct, this is when, yes, you don't have any of your cooldowns here. Now, let's see when you use those cooldowns. What did you use your cooldowns for? So, I don't hate that. I don't hate when you use that. However, I don't hate it because you were low. I don't like it because let's see what's going on here. Nobody can see you right now. Let's see here. Let's go from everyone's point of view here. Mercy, yeah, she can see you, but what's Mercy gonna do? Moira, she looked over. Yeah, she can see you. What's she gonna do? Sojourn, she's getting dove by the tank. Genji, he's shooting a wall. He's not going to go for you. He doesn't know where you are yet. The tank, oh, he can't see you. What's he going to do? He's Reinhardt. And you can see his fire strike coming from a mile away. I would have let myself healed back up, saved that for a different situation, exactly like what we saw when you were over here. When the Genji dove me, I would have saved that for that point. Maybe I could have turned around and maybe I could have shot him, but instead you had no cooldowns. Let's go back to you here. When do you use your immortality field? Another ability that could have saved you. You use it on the dive tank. So with your immortality field and using it on tanks, in immortality field in general, right? We're going to talk about immortality field in general. This little guy is an essential part of BAP's kit, obviously. And you threw it in here willy-nilly. We're going to call it willy-nilly. You threw it in here, just randomly threw it in here. Not because you wanted to waste it, because you wanted to save the tank. Now, can anybody tell me what is Winston's best ability in terms of, and only ability in terms of getting out of danger? His jump. And what does he do? He jumps out of your immortality field, and this super helpful, super awesome cooldown is wasted. What else does it have? A super long cooldown. And look who's coming after you. You didn't know that, albeit you didn't know that. That's not entirely your fault. But I would have I would have recognized that, okay, my tank is not going to sit here, and he's not gonna stay there. He has an ability where he can jump out of there, and you know, maybe he does stay in there. Maybe he does stay in there. Good job. However, what am I gonna do as Moira? What am I gonna do as Mercy? What am I gonna do as Reinhardt? Honestly, what am I gonna do when I see just this pinnacle of beautiful, beautiful buildable objects here. I'm going to shoot it because every time I see this, I laugh. Remember what I said? I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to shoot it. And it doesn't get any help anyway, but that's just what I'm going to do. And then here comes the Genji. Very, very gutsy push here because the tank and the Mercy was with you. And you kind of just freak out and try to run away. You know, not really much you're going to be able to do there. And the Genji gets your Mercy there. And it takes the tank to come in to get him here. And, you know, the tank sort of sits out there for a little too long. And the soldier, not really much a soldier can do by himself. So let's go back to you here. Let's see where you are. A good spot for really any hit scan, DPS. A good spot for you too. I don't hate it. I don't hate where you are. However, here comes the Genji. And I believe that this is the one time that you don't use your cooldowns. Now, you do actually, you do. And I think I remember talking about this when this first happened. But let's go back, let's watch this. And let me tell you what I don't like about it.
My heart's still beating. So let's group up.
Look who's on you right now. Look who's right behind you. Mercy. Alright, let's see what happens. So she's sitting on you with her healing. Cool. Exactly what I would want as a player, as a person. Oh, and she left you. Okay. She left you. That is something I didn't notice. She did leave you. However, my point still stands. I wouldn't have used my my cooldown there to get my health back. Frankly, you know, there's nobody around me. Soldier's down there. Reinhardt's down there. I'm pretty sure the Reinhardt is the person that did the damage to you. Yeah, the Reinhardt is the person that did the damage to you. You know, there's nobody around you. I don't think I would have used that. And in turn, when that Genji dove me, that's when I would have used it, and maybe you could have survived a little while longer. But instead, he got a good combo off on you. Now the Genji, he sees you. Now he hits you a couple times. Now where's your cooldown at? Nowhere. And he comes up and gets you in a couple of hits. So maybe you could have used that the first time he hit you, and maybe you couldn't have gone back up to full health, and this him diving you here wouldn't have killed you. But you know, it's done and over with. There's nothing really you can do about that. We can sit here all day and say, oh, you should have done this, this, and this, but it happened. Let's look at your team's positioning here. This is fine, actually. Your Pharah is sitting up here. She's not really flying around. She's not leaving herself open to Sojourn as much. The Sojourn doesn't really seem to have the aim to really do anything, and instead she jumps into both of them. Not what I would expect from a Pharah. Sojourn's playing with the tank, or Soldier's playing with the tank. Mercy's playing with the tank. Exactly what I would want on my team. And then everybody gets hit by the stun. How many of you die here? Soldier dies. Everybody dies. And you throw your immortality field down seconds too late in a spot where knocking up the tank. Soldier was already dead. And the Mercy died over here. Now, if this was to help you, excellent job. It helped you. For about a few seconds. and then the Genji ults you and you die. So, I mean, we can look at this specific instance here. A lot of wasted cooldowns on your part, where it could have helped you. It could have helped you get a couple of kills, like you were doing earlier. Instead, you decided to waste them for whatever reason, on whatever. So now we swap to Kiriko. Let's watch your positioning, mainly. We walk into the pin. If I remember correctly, that was telegraphed from tens of miles away. Yep, and you saw that coming. Maybe you weren't necessarily looking at it, but you saw that coming and walked right into it. And then your team just feeds, and there's nothing you can do about that because you walked into the Reinhardt's charge. And then this is sort of a move that I wouldn't do. You got very lucky that that soldier cannot aim. Not really. You lost your tank there. Lost your team. You got a good kill on the soldier. So yeah, I mean, your team worked together there. We got them all. Cap the point. You're playing too close. Playing way too out in the open. Way too out in the open here. And you go, instead of walking out behind, you walk in front of their team. So you said you know how to position. I would say you know how to position yourself when your team is doing well. However, when your team actually goes down, I would say you don't. Frankly, just straight up, you don't know how to position when your team is losing a team fight. Let's watch this from the bird's eye view here. This is fine here. This is fine. Over here, not fine. Here, fine. So you're going back over there. You're standing in front of their entire team. If I saw you up here, you're gone. I mean, that's just right in front of me. Perfect sight. You're not here to be healing your tank here. You can't see your Moira. You're far as playing whatever, doing that, and your soldier's behind them. Your soldier's very, very aggressive. But instead of, and now you see the soldier in here, you're tunnel visioning is the only thing that I can say. You're tunnel visioning on doing damage to this tank, to the Reinhardt shield. Not something that you would want to see. Anyway, sorry about that. Not something that I would want to see on my team. Just a Kiriko doing damage to a Reinhardt shield. And then you walk down here. As your tank goes in, you walk down here. Instead of staying up here, I would have stayed up here. Honestly, looking at your team, I think you guys could have won this. Had you stayed up here, had you gone back here, if you had went back here, fallen down back on the point, that's fine. Maybe gone right here with the Moira, but instead you walk in front of their team, lose some health, and then get killed here. And now the soldier has free aim, essentially free kills on point here. Oh, that was okay. We got ground Pharah. So yeah, that's just sort of a team effort. That's not your fault. That's not your tank's fault. It's not your DPS's fault. again, I would really like to have seen a scoreboard for this match. I just want to see what the healing actually looks like, how it's been going up, if at all. Let's go back and watch this. Now, I haven't seen any crazy, like, why are you not healing at all? But I would definitely want you to heal a little bit more. If you're going to climb on Kiriko, you're going to need to be healing quite a bit more. You can, if once you change that setting, which I really hope you do change that setting in Kiriko's the Ofunda papers. I very much hope that you do change that, because then you're going to be able to throw the papers out that you need to. You're going to be able to keep your tank up, and you're also going to be able to do damage at the same time. And then also work on your Suzu usage. I would have maybe tried to use my Suzu on as soon as that Reinhardt got to the yeah, again, I mean, look at where you are. Definitely not who I would have clapped to. Absolutely not. But I would have tried to get over here, maybe throw my Suzu at the Winston and Reinhardt, maybe tried to Suzu that pin, but it didn't really pan out like that. So, your tank's really not getting a whole lot of help here. Yeah, he's getting healed by the Lucio, but Lucio just doesn't have the healing output to be able to keep this tank's play style alive. And again, he goes in. When I see a Mauga go in, I'm healing him. You know, I want to enable this Mauga. Let the Lucio get some damage in. And again, once you change that setting, you're going to be able to do damage to this Mercy. You're going to be doing damage to the Sojourn while also being able to heal the tank. Instead, you're locked in your animation, not able to do damage at all. You're just healing, which we've seen a couple of times where that sort of cost you maybe a life there, maybe not. And if that tank would have been a little bit more healing, if you got the Suzu there, that would have been good. Again, second wasted ult. Use your ult with your team. I think you could have won a point with your ult. Kiriko's rush is extremely good. And you kind of just blank and don't really... You go out in front of their team instead of back here. Instead of trying to hide a little bit better, you try to go out and sort of sit in front of their team. I think this Mauga is a little bit too aggressive, in all fairness to you. I think he's a little too aggressive for the healing he's receiving. And it's just unfortunate that it just panned out that way. Again, I'll say it as many times as need to be. You don't need to... I mean, see what happens here? Because you don't have this setting changed, you're only able to heal, you're only able to do damage, you're not able to switch between it whenever you want to. So you're stuck throwing 10 papers out when you could throw 5 papers out, do some damage, 5 papers more, do some damage, 10 papers, do some damage, 2 papers, do some damage. So hopefully you understand what I'm talking about here. And again, we'll talk about your positioning here. You're leaving yourself open. If I saw a soldier and a Kiriko over here, as really anybody on the enemy team, you know, I'd mark them, say, hey, look who's over here. 2 characters who, if I saw, I mean, if a Kiriko's alone, I'm going to try to go for her. If a soldier's alone, I'm going to try to go for him. As a diva main, I'm going to see this. I'm going to say, oh, you guys are out of position. I'm going to try to go for you. I'm going to try to force you back. I'm going to try to force some cooldowns out. Instead, you stay over here, and you stay over here for a little while.
I've got you in my
Your tank gets back up to full health, and then immediately goes back down. Because you're killing the Sojourn. Again, I don't blame you for. Go for the damage. However, change your setting around, you can get more healing, and you can also get damage at the same time.
Justice reigns from above.
Yep. Yeah. And again, so we'll now go back and sort of talk about what I saw overall, and we'll change some things around. So there was no major situations where I saw a like, oh, this needs to be fixed immediately, otherwise you're never going to climb. I think you have great potential to climb, to do good. It's just right now, not a whole lot you're going to be able to do until you change that setting around, until you're really able to help your team. And like I was saying, with BAP, you did a good job of changing between damage, between healing. You did a good job with it. And that's why your team did so good in the first round. However, when you swapped to Kiriko, you were only able to do healing. You were only able to do damage because you were, for whatever reason, maybe focusing a little bit too much on damage. In my personal opinion, you can take this with a grain of salt. In my personal opinion, you were focusing a little bit too much on damage rather than healing your tank. Now, I'll be straight up with the tank. This isn't necessarily obviously it's not a tank VOD review, but that tank should have been a little bit less aggressive when you realize, okay, I'm not getting the healing that I am needing to play this way. I'm going to stay back a little bit. I'm going to use my cardiac overdrive a little bit more smart. Instead, he kind of just sat in front of the Reinhardt shield and wasn't able to get any damage out of it, and cost himself the win there in a couple of team fights. And again, with this soldier in here, you're not going to be able to do this any higher than whatever rank this was specifically. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to survive a soldier shooting you when you throw it on your immortality field. As soon as I see that immortality field go up, flick right to it, no matter who I'm playing. Now, if you want to position yourself, if you want to use your immortality field to get some damage off, by all means, go ahead and do it. Put it behind a wall. Put it behind a corner where they have to push you, where they have to put themselves in harm's way to be able to kill the immortality field. Obviously, it's the same with Alari's pylon. If I see a pylon go up and it's right in front of my face, if I've seen some Alaris even in Diamond and Plat or wherever I'm playing at, whatever rank I'm playing in, which is, not to sound full of myself or whatever, is higher than this, they will throw their pylons, they will throw their immortality fields right in front of me, and I'll just shoot them. And that's something that, if you want to play BAP, if you want to play Alari, any support or anybody with a buildable cooldown or object needs to realize you need to put it behind something. You need to obscure it from the enemy's vision so that way they aren't able to see it and they aren't able to take it out immediately. Now, with your BAP, the only major thing I saw was this here, where you put down your window and obviously got no use out of it. That was purely because your team was already dead and you decided to put down your immortality field and waste your ult for whatever reason. You thought you were going to be able to get kills, whatever. And now your team is unable to use that. You're unable to use that ult because you decided to put it down and the tracer came after you. So I would not have used that there. I would have maybe used it when your team is around. I mean, you've got a soldier I would have used it with the soldier. I mean, soldier and window, they go right together. They go hand in hand. I love when my BAP puts down a window for me. Great. Instead, you used it for yourself and got no use out of it. This is when I would have used the window specifically. And then maybe, your Mercy wouldn't have died. But I believe you win this team fight, though. So, see, and now that was a very, very good use of your immortality field there. You used it when your team was away from you. They weren't near you enough to be able to see it, and then they came out and ulted on your Winston, and you saved your Winston. Let me see what you talked about specifically in your request here. You know how to heal. You definitely do know how to heal. You know what the heal button is. I would just like to have seen a little bit more from you as Kiriko. However, you were a little too focused on doing damage and unable to switch between the two of them fast enough. Once you do that, I think that you'll be fine on Kiriko, and there was nothing else that was super major like that specifically. In positioning, your BAP positioning, yeah, it's okay. There were a couple times where I'm holding my breath for you, but it obviously worked out for you. Very, very luckily, I might add. You're not going to be able to pull that off, excuse my bluntness, with smarter players. Your Kiriko positioning needs a lot of work. Not hard work, I will add. You just need to realize where to go when your team is losing a team fight instead of in front of their team. Sort of take some, run away. Don't be afraid to run away. Live to fight another day is what I like to say. Live to fight another day, and you're running away. Rather than sort of sitting in front of their team and dying. Your teammates do have some interesting positioning, and that's not your fault. The target priority does need to be looked at. I'm not going to tell you to scream at your team in chat or go into and furiously type at your team in chat, but they need to realize, hey, I'm not receiving the healing for this. Maybe I need to play differently. And that's something that you'll get when you're playing in higher ranks. Maybe even if you're playing in lower ranks, if you're talking in chat. And I do agree. You should lose the mindset that your teammates are the problem. Very rarely are your teammates the sole issue. However, this was not a prime example of your teammates being bad. This was a team effort, as I've said many a times in this review. This was a team effort. Your tank was going in. Your DPS were, I'm not really seeing a whole lot from your DPS that are crazy plays or insane. I think that they're just trying to play the game. The Pharah did just run in and the soldier killed himself. So average silver DPS, silver to low gold DPS, I would say. Not really doing a whole lot, not doing super awful either. For you, I would say change that paper setting. Try to go for damage while you're healing at the same time. Try not to get lost again. Try to not get as close to your teammates, because if I'm playing Reinhardt or I'm playing Diva or Winston, or really any tank. If I see a Kiriko up close, that is my target. That is who I'm going for. That is who I'm getting. I'm not letting that Kiriko get away. And you got lucky in some of these certain circumstances where their team sort of just sort of sat there and didn't really go for you. But there are other times like that where you're way too close. You're just way too close to their team, and they're able to get you like that. So that's something that I would work on. And then alts. We'll talk about your alts again. Like I said before, you wasted both of them. I don't think that you don't even get alt in this because you switched late. Now, if you're doing more damage and you're getting more healing, I am building alt. When I play Kiriko, I'm building alt very quickly because I'm doing damage and I'm healing at the same time because I have that setting switched. So I can cancel my healing whenever I want to. So that way I'm doing damage at the same time and then I'm healing. Damage, healing, damage, healing. Your cooldown usage definitely needs work. You're clapping a lot when you don't need to. You're using your Suzu when you don't need to. Since they don't have anybody with abilities that are long-lasting abilities like Ash's Dynamite, I would try to use them when the Reinhardt pins, so that way, he's not able to get a couple of maybe a swing off, or maybe you Suzu the damage on the pin there or whatever. Your BAP immortality field, we already talked about that. Your burst healing with BAP, we've already talked about that many times. Overall, exactly what I would expect out of a silver to low gold game here. Just the tanks sort of doing their own thing, playing for themselves. Really what's going on here is your team is playing for themselves, including you. You're playing for yourself. You're going for damage quite often rather than an equilibrium between the two. Let me try to think if there's anything else. Let me look back at your request here. You asked, do I just stop healing them completely, even if they are feeding and are not getting important picks? Yes and no. If I see, let's say, for example, if I see a diva rushing in to their backline, and this has been happening plenty of times before, and it's never worked out. That was if that's what I'm seeing, I'm not going to heal her. I'm gonna show her, hey, that is not what you do. You're not going to get healed. I'm not going to heal you. Essentially, womp womp. But on the other hand, if I'm seeing a Mauga, for example, run in and face tanking, I'm honestly going to heal bottom. I'm going to try to let him, get that. This Reinhardt, I don't know if he really lost his shield because the tank wasn't able to do the damage he needed to, because he wasn't healing himself. He wasn't doing himself any favors by any means. But that's just how it panned out. Again, not entirely your fault. You are going for picks. However, it's really not helping your team. You going for picks at this point, with your team playing like they are, is not helping your team at all. You're playing for yourself. You're getting the kills, but you're not getting you're not helping your team. You're not healing your team when they need to be healed. And if I was playing that tank, I probably, I'm not going to be rushing in like that, but if I was playing that tank, I'm going to see that, I'm going to feel like I'm not getting healed because the healing was not necessarily what I would want from a Kiriko. I would expect her to be doing a little bit more healing than damage, albeit I still want you to do damage. So I hope that makes sense. Again, change your settings. If you do that, I think that you'll be able to help your team out a lot more. And I think that you'll have no problem climbing. I think that you have the mechanic, you have the basics down. I just think that you need to really work with your team a little bit better rather than playing for yourself and trying to get those picks off when your tank's already low, or your soldier needs a Suzu or whatever. But anyway, I think that'll be it for this stream. If you want to watch this over on YouTube, it'll be up in a little bit. Again, Mosey or Skylar White Yo, thank you for submitting this VOD request on Reddit, and I hope that I helped you out a little bit. If you have any questions about my review, if you have any questions about other characters, let me know. But thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.